I'm going to choose Arizona until they prove me wrong, which is going to happen. But as of right now, as I'm sitting here on this day, Arizona is the best team in the NFL right now.
We are 6 weeks into the NFL season. Welcome to Big Man Bets, the home of the Hall of Famer, left tackle, greatest show on turf, Orlando Pace, and red hot with another 3-0 week. Watch out, the 7-time Pro Bowler on that Hall of Fame ballot. He's also back from a trip across the pond where he learned a lot. Proud New York Jet for life, Nick Mangold. Gentlemen, welcome. Congrats on your hot streak here, Nick. You want to boast at the start of the show? Feel free.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm going to because it's going to turn around and it's going to go terrible later. But right now I'm 11-5. I'm dominating at 69%. I'm just making people money. That's what I'm doing.
Just making people money. That's it.
That's all I'm doing.
Casually throwing out boastful tweets. I love all of it. The Cardinals undefeated. Where did that come from? And look at those Dallas Cowboys. Gentlemen, Orlando, who do you believe in more here between those two?
Wow, both are playing really good football at the start of the year. I got to be honest, I had no idea Arizona would have this type of season early on. Obviously I thought they were, they're a good team, but when they went out to LA and beat the Rams, that was a big win. And then missing, some coaches playing against the Cleveland Browns team this past weekend and still getting the W and dominating. I think the Arizona Cardinals are the real deal, moving into the next half of the season. These guys are playing well with or without their coach. Kyler Murray's an MVP candidate, playing really well. Defense, they're flying around, making plays on defense as well. So I would have to say out of the two, and both of them are really good teams, I think Arizona is probably more real than anybody right now.
You mentioned the COVID. Just for the record, the Cardinals have an NFL high 23 cases going into week 7. You got Chandler Jones, their outstanding outside linebacker, defensive tackle Zach Allen. This could be a factor at least going into this week, but long term, that probably is not the biggest effect. Nick, what do you think?
So to me, I feel like everyone slept on the Cowboys, just wondering, would Dak come back healthy? Like that was the big question. If he comes back healthy, yes, they're going to be good. Also, the defensive side of the ball, I don't think anyone expected the Cowboys to be as good on defense as they are. So that also has been exciting. As we all know, I've been riding Arizona, just riding that hot hand. It's still the other shoe's going to drop. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I don't have the faith in the desert that I should. Especially being 6-0, they've proven they've beaten quality teams. Like you said, the Rams. Just recently, the Browns at the Browns, and I know I'm still a Browns hater, but they are doing well. So the fact that they got the win there and did it decisively. Shows me that they have a little spunk to them, and I'm going to keep riding them. But I think at some point the other shoe's going to drop, and the Cardinals are going to fall out, and we're going to be like, you know what? We all knew it was going to happen. It's the Cardinals.
Trayvon Diggs now 4 interceptions away for tying the single season record with Dallas's Everson Walls. 7 away from the NFL record, Richard Night Train Lane. That guy's been an impact player on the defensive side of the ball. Does anybody think either of these two are the best team in the NFL? And if not, who are you putting at the top right now?
I think it's tough. Anytime you have the defending champions in Tampa Bay, just going about their business quietly down there, winning ball games. And obviously when Dallas has some success, everybody wants to talk about Dallas. And obviously what Arizona's doing. And Green Bay's another team that is quietly going about their business, winning games. Nobody's talking about those guys, but they have 2 of the best quarterbacks of all time, and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. So you can never really count those guys out. I think for my money, I think Tampa Bay probably is still the best team in the NFC right now.
Yeah, it is funny that everyone's just kind of forgetting about Tampa Bay and Green Bay, both Bays, which is interesting. I don't understand how you count out Aaron Rodgers, the way that he's been playing, and dominant performance over the Bears, which was fantastic to see. But right now, I mean, the record says what they are. The Cardinals are 6-0. They are the best team in the league right now. Will they be the best team at the end of the season? Probably not. But right now, everyone else is just playing catch up to the Cardinals. So I still have to follow them. I don't want to, because I know, like I said, the other shoe's going to drop. But right now, 6-0 is 6-0. You can't take those victories away from them, and they're the best team.
Hey Nick, let me ask you a question. If Arizona played Green Bay or Tampa Bay today, who would you choose?
Oh. Are they playing home or away?
They're playing home. Either way, I know Green Bay. Is different, but would you still choose Arizona today?
Yes, I'm going to choose Arizona until they prove me wrong, which is going to happen. But as of right now, as I'm sitting here on this day, Arizona is the best team in the NFL right now.
Gotcha.
I just keyed in on Nick's comment that it was great to see Aaron Rodgers against the Bears. I know we got Bears fans who watch Big Man Bets, and Rodgers in the end zone doing the championship belt discount double check. I still own you. That's pretty bold. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever play with somebody who taunted the crowd like that. Any reaction to Aaron being all bold in Chicago?
Yeah, I don't know if Aaron. I know he knows there's mics all over the field, but obviously that's a huge rivalry game, and I'm sure those fans have been giving him, talking smack for years to come. So he was giving it back to him a little bit in terms of how many victories he's had over those Bears. So. Obviously they got to stop him. They get one more chance to play him again in Green Bay. Hopefully they can actually put up a better game.
I absolutely love it. I think Aaron. I met Aaron way back at a buddy's bachelor party, and he wasn't starting yet. Favre was still there, and he was just really chill, cool guy. And so to see that passion is awesome. Like, I think that's great for the game. He does own the Bears. I mean, it's obviously a team game, so I get that. But I mean, I think the stat is, I think they're 22-5 with Aaron Rodgers being the starting quarterback. That's owning a team. Like, there's, and Bears fans can be upset about it, but he owns the Bears.
Yeah, and to Nick's point, you like to see a guy who's as cool and calm as Aaron Rodgers has been, show some real emotion and talk some trash, man. That's good for. I think that's good for the game, good for the fan. It's good for football right now. So really enjoyed that. Now that kind of reignites that rivalry, and hopefully the Bears can be motivated by it.
Big Man Bets official. Trash talking, good for the league. And if we go back to 92 and include Favre, by the way, the Bears are 15-45 against Green Bay. Just for the record, I'm not counting this up daily, but those are the numbers. Hey, let's go to topic 2 here. Most disappointing team in the NFL right now. When you look at the records and where we're at through 6 weeks, who stands out on the disappointment side? Nick, you want to go ahead?
There's a lot of disappointments. I think the big one to me that I'm looking at and it's not really from preseason hype. It's more of how the season has gone. The Carolina Panthers, they started out 3-0. We're rolling. Sam Darnold seemed to be hot, coming out of the Jets and going down there, new system, new town, feeling rejuvenated. And then now to go on a 3-game losing streak. What are they? And so to me, I didn't have any preconceived notions of the Panthers going into the season, but now looking at it after starting 3-0 and losing the next 3, I think they're in a tailspin, and I'm quite disappointed in that.
Christian McCaffrey having a big effect there too, and I still am optimistic on Sam Darnold. By the way, I'm sticking with your guy, the former Jet. Orlando, who sticks out for you?
For me, it's my Browns. When you look at their team and their roster and how much talent they have, I think going into the season, everybody was saying, "Hey, with Odell Beckham coming back, Jarvis Landry, what they've done on the defensive side of the ball, and all their draft picks coming into their own, I think, obviously I thought they're 3-3 at 500 team, but their roster, somebody said this the other day, is a 6-0 roster, but they're just not performing. Baker's been up and down. I know he's been battling some injuries, but I think everybody was looking for Cleveland to really take over, that division, obviously with the Steelers playing the way they're playing. Obviously, Baltimore is a great team that's been playing well, but Cincinnati is ahead of Cleveland right now, and nobody expected that. So we thought that, for me, they're the biggest disappointment in the league right now.
Let's make a bold prediction here and look at the sub 500s, which the Browns are not at 3-3, but the 49ers, Colts, Seahawks, Washington, New England, all sub 500. Who of that group do you think is most likely to get it together and make a run for the playoffs?
For me, I think it's the Indianapolis Colts, and I don't think any of them make the playoffs, but because they have the weakest division, they have, obviously they have Jacksonville and Houston. Obviously, Tennessee's probably going to run away with that, but they have a chance to get in if they can keep guys healthy for the most part. I know they're getting T.Y. Hilton back. Their offensive line has played well over the past couple of years. So if those guys can stay healthy, they could have a run if Wentz can stay healthy.
Yeah, I'm not believing the Colts, so I got to disagree with you there. But the one I'm looking at is the Seahawks. I think when they get Russell Wilson back, that will provide the spark. I don't think Geno's going to win them any games, but Russell coming back will give them the spark. I think they have the best chance of making the playoffs, but they'll be sneaking in because, you look at those teams. The 49ers, the Colts, Seahawks, Washington definitely not doing it. The Patriots, I don't see it. The 49ers don't see it. Colts would be a struggle. So I think out of those teams, I got to go with the Seahawks.
Does practice feel different 4-2 as opposed to 2-4?
Big time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
As players, I look at the season in quarters. So the first 4 games, obviously you want to have a winning percentage. The second, the second half, you want to have a winning percentage. Every 4 games, you want to have a winning percentage. So 4-2 is light years ahead of 2-4. And the degree of difficulty or obviously there's a much different feel because you're going in, you're above 500, you're feeling great, you're feeling really optimistic. And then at 2-4, the pressure's on for everybody in your city. The media's on you a little bit. I'd much rather be 4-2.
Yeah, I think when you sit there, sitting at 2-4, looking at the rest of the schedule, like, we're behind the 8 ball here. How are we going to dig out of this hole to get back to where we need to be? It's just a tough place to be. So definitely. I think players feel it, not so much as, like how the fans do, clinging to every loss. Cause you play on Sunday, win or lose, you're done by Monday afternoon, Monday evening, and you're moving on to the next week. I think the fans stick with it more. So I think the fans dealing with 2-4 is a lot worse, but the players understand, digging out of a hole at 2-4, for their own livelihood, because playoffs matter and getting into the dance, that added pressure on top of the fact that you're still playing in the NFL is, it really starts building when you put yourself in a hole.
Let's look at one of the 4-2s, and particularly their star guy, and he was awesome again on Monday night, Derrick Henry. If you guys had an MVP vote, would you give it to a running back, and specifically to this guy who is he's got 51 more carries than anyone. He's got 260 more yards. He's got 5 more rushing touchdowns. He's on pace to break Larry Johnson's record of 416 carries in a year and Eric Dickerson's 2,105 rushing yards, which was 1984. So that's a lot of stats I just threw at you. But he's also a running back, so those guys don't necessarily get the love. Would anybody give Derrick their MVP vote?
You know what? Under any other circumstances, I might. But obviously at running back, you have to do so much at the running back position. But obviously when you see what Lamar Jackson's doing, Kyler Murray, those guys are having phenomenal years. So Derrick Henry, he's a man amongst boys. He has guys making business decisions. I was watching the game the other night. Guys did not want to come up and tackle him. But obviously you got to do, you got to rush, you got to break Eric Digger, you got to break all these records. And I think as the year progresses, guys will try to load the blocks and stop him. But it'll be tough to break Eric Dickerson's record. He probably will get Larry Johnson's 416 carries record, but I don't know if that's beneficial for him in the long haul in terms of all those carries that he'll have. But for me, I don't know if I'll vote for him this year. But he's a heck of a player.
I'm going to take the other side, and I would say yes. I think I would throw the vote to him because when you look at the MVP, the most valuable player, without Derrick Henry and what he's doing, Titans are 1-5. I mean, like they're just not in ball games. He's winning. He single-handedly is winning games for them on offense. And if he continues to do that, and continues to put the team on his back, even in a quarterback-driven league that we are in right now, like when we talk about what Lamar's doing, what Kyler's doing, would another quarterback come into that system and do the same thing? Maybe, maybe not. Can't say. But I know another running back's not going to the Titans and doing the same thing Derrick Henry's doing and carrying that team. So if right now, if he continues to do what he's doing, he would get my vote.
Last non-quarterback to win the MVP, Adrian Peterson. We're going back to 2012, and before that it was Lawrence Taylor, which just shows you how hard it is for anybody to actually get the votes. So you mentioned Orlando, like it's not good for him, the 400 plus carries. Is this a real concern that, hey, as great as he's going, Tennessee, Mike Vrabel, maybe you want to reconsider giving him the ball this much?
Well, I don't think the Titans care as much. They're going to get out. They're going to get everything out of you that they can get out of you. I just think from a player standpoint, I've seen it a few times. Just guys are giving guys 30, 40 carries a game. And by year 8 or 9, they don't have legs anymore. They've been beat up for, the last, 8 or 9 years. So I think it's just for him beneficial. I don't know if he wants to carry the ball as many times as they're giving him the ball, just for longevity of his career and what they've done. You look at big backs that over, year 8 or 9, 10, they don't have that explosion anymore because they've taken all that all those hits from guys. So that's just my own personal belief, in terms of his longevity and wanting to play the game for as long as he wants to play, because the team will get rid of him as soon as he doesn't have that productivity anymore.
I would love to see a reporter actually ask this question of see if they can get a real answer out of Derrick Henry, because it seems like he is enjoying the spotlight and enjoying what he's able to do with these carries. But like Orlando said, you're going to run out of gas. I mean, at some point, the body's going to break down and you're not going to have it. Is he more excited about the run that he's going on, or is he concerned about longevity? Because like Orlando said, the team doesn't care. They're next man up, they'll find somebody else. But for him personally, would it be better for him to just have these, couple of great seasons where he's unbelievable, and then peter out, or does he want to stick around for a long while? And I think no one knows except for Derrick Henry.
He was clocked at 21 plus miles per hour on his 70 plus yard sprint to the end zone. And in the totality, he's got 11 rushing touchdowns of 50 or more. That's fourth all time, actually, with another former Titan, Chris Johnson. The others are Adrian Peterson's got 16, Barry Sanders 15, and Jim Brown 12, who I think is maybe an apt comparison if you consider his size in this era, the way Jim Brown was so much bigger back in the day. Let's go Mount Rushmore for you guys. Give me your Mount Rushmore of running backs of all time. And, Orlando, you certainly play with a very good one here. Why don't we start with you?
Yeah, for me, I think Jim Brown. You mentioned Jim Brown. And I didn't get a chance to watch him, but just seeing tape and what he's meant to the game in terms of his running back, big back, did really well. Barry Sanders, as a childhood fan, always watched him, enjoyed watching them play. Walter Payton, and I'm sure you like that, Mark. Walter Payton was one of my all-time favorites. And then Emmitt Smith, just because he had a rushing title. I think those four guys are probably Mount Rushmore. I know I'm leaving out my guy, Marshall Faulk, who was a tremendous, tremendous running back in his own right, and probably should be on my Mount Rushmore. But there's so many guys that play the game really great. But I was a huge fan of Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, those two guys growing up, and even when I thought I would be a running back at some point. But those guys were childhood favorites of mine.
I love the delusion of the children to think that they're going to be running backs. I thought it was going to be a quarterback, so that failed miserably. So I am in agreement. 3 out of 4. I love Barry Sanders, Jim Brown, Walter Payton. Those are just classic guys that are fantastic running backs. My switch up is LaDainian Tomlinson. He's a fantastic running back. Having spent a little bit of time with him. Obviously everyone knows the yards, touchdowns, the way that he was so smooth carrying the ball. But something that doesn't get picked up in stats is pass protection. And LT was one of the best backs I've ever talked to about knowing pass protection, where he needed to go, how he was in tune with the offensive line. And to see that guy come in after having the storied career that he had and still caring about pass protection really meant something to me. So he gets thrown onto my Mount Rushmore.
I love that. It's a solid LT throw in there. Guys getting some respect here. Tough. Mount Rushmore for running backs, incredibly tough. So we're not trying to slight anybody here on Big Man Bets. That, by the way, thank you for watching. All right, let's talk bye weeks here, gentlemen. Is it better in your mind when you're going through the year to have the early bye week like the Bills and Cowboys do this week? Dallas kind of banged up, so it's a good time for them to get it, I think. Or do you prefer the late by okay, we made it to week 12, which would be the Chiefs and the Cardinals?
For me, it was always late bye week. I saw the schedule come out, and I instantly looked to see where the bye week is. I wanted the late one because you needed it. By that point in the season, you're starting to wear down. You need that little break. I've had early bye weeks, and it was pointless. You're barely getting into the rhythm of the season, and then you're like, all right, you have a week off. So late bye week for me till the day I die.
Yeah, I agree. Late bye week for me as well, but it really depends on the type of season you're having. If you're coming out the gates fast and you're winning, and you're on a nice win streak, 9 times out of 10, your coach is gonna say take the entire week off, which is sweet. But if you're struggling, let's get a few practices in or something like that. Either early or late. Neither one of those scenarios work for me. But my preference is solely, a later bye week.
Let's just go off of that, Orlando. You're going well. The coach says you take your time, enjoy yourself. What's the best bye week activity that you ever did?
Laying on my couch, watching television every day and not doing much at all. Because you're in a season, and it's not like you can go out and party or take these, elaborate vacations or anything like that. It's really just maintaining, getting a massage, treating your body, getting your body prepared mentally, and just really getting away from the game. So I would just probably hang out with my family and friends and just, not do a whole lot of anything that entire week. So
you're missing out. Let's see. So when I was younger without kids, my wife and I would jet off to Napa,
nice.
And we spent a couple of days in wine country. And then once we started having kids and it was a little bit more difficult to get away, we started going out to we'd go out to the East End of Long Island, and kind of hole up in the Hamptons for like 2 or 3 days. That way we're close enough we could get back to the kids, but we're far enough that they can't find us. And so that was where you just kind of melt away. Like that was the bye week, was you get away from everything. And there's this great bed and breakfast that we'd stay out at the Hamptons. And, you know, we'd spend the day just reading and sitting on the couch and doing absolutely nothing, because I think that's what the bye week is supposed to be about.
Yeah, Nick, you're right. And we should do the stages of our careers, right? Because early on, you may take a trip out to Vegas or something if you're single or something like that with a couple of buddies. You know, later on when you have kids and a wife and kids, you're like, dude, we're just relaxing. We're not doing a whole lot of anything. And then you're older, so you understand it a little bit more anyway. But to your point, younger Orlando probably, you know, we're out somewhere partying or something for the week.
I think our viewers are with Nick on this one. Y'all are in the league. You're in a couple dollars. Take that time, do something fun.
Absolutely.
But that was the side of being young and dumb. Like being in New York, I mean, flying out to San Fran, that's a 5-hour flight. So you're wasting part of your bye week. You're wasting traveling to San Fran just to drive up to Napa, have 2 days, and then fly the 5 hours back to New York. Like, in retrospect, it was probably pretty stupid for bye weeks, because you're not getting all that, you know, you're dehydrating yourself with the flight and everything, also drinking a bunch of wine. Probably not the best choice, but, you know, at the time it was fantastic and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Absolutely.
All right, back on the field. I would have gone straight south if I were you in New York, by the way, a little Punta Cana, something like that. But hey, you wanted to go to wine country. Let's talk big underdogs, our last topic of the day. We got some double digits here. The Lions, Jared Goff, can you get some revenge playing at the Rams? 15-point underdog. The Texans, just atrocious last week against the Colts, and now they got the Cardinals, who we've been talking about. The Texans are getting 17, and the Bears going to play Tampa after getting smoked by Aaron Rodgers, 13.5. That line's been ticking up. Double-digit underdog, most likely to cover this week before we get into our picks. Orlando, anybody jumping out at you, or is it just complete terror to pick any of them?
It's complete terror to pick any of them. I think they're all, they're all bad teams, and I don't think they'll jump up and cover anything. But I think Tampa. I think if anybody, I think the Bears have a chance. Just because Justin Fields can pop up and have a great game, or their defense can show up a little bit and make it closer than that 13.5 point spread. So if I had to pick one, if you twisted my arm to pick one, I would probably say Chicago.
They're all terrible. Seeing some of these lines, I think the Texans are now up to plus 18.
Wow.
When I looked this morning, so they keep ticking up. I don't like any of them that much. The one that I am intrigued by, though, and I'll put it out there, if Tyrod Taylor comes back, the Cardinals could have their letdown game. This could be it. This is where the other shoe drops. And if Tyrod comes back, I think he adds that spark to the Texans. I still think they stink. And so I'm not putting a lot of faith in it, but that's the one I'm looking at as a potential of at least covering. Not winning, no, but at least covering.
When you're on a team that's not good and you're a double-digit underdog, what was your mentality going into a game like that?
It's really every man for himself. You're just trying to put, at that point, you're trying to rally the troops. We're having team meetings, and that's an indication when you're in trouble. When you start having player-only meetings, you're like, dude, we're in trouble this week. But just kind of going in, let's rally around each other, let's play hard, let's play for each other. That whole mantra of let's just go out and do what let's win this game. And then you come out in the first half, you look great, and then the second half they hit the gas on you and it's over. But yeah, it's a tough one because you want the team spirit and try to rally guys together, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's funny, the whole point spread. I never realized what was going on when I was playing. I don't know, gambling just never really seeped in. So I never knew if we were, underdogs or, favorites or what. But you knew when you're going against a team that's, like the Texans right now, they're going against the Cardinals at 6-0. You know that the world has written you off and you have no chance. It kind of gives you that motivation to say, all right, let's prove them wrong. Let's see if we can do that. Does it work out? Most likely not. But there is still some of that motivation when everyone writes you off. That you can go out there and get the job done.
Do we think that Jared Goff is going to have his best game ever going back and playing against his former team? Or does he put too much pressure on himself? Like, what's that meant? Nick, obviously you were a Jet your whole life. In Orlando, you had the one season with the Bears, but just putting yourself in his shoes, what do you think that's like for him?
It's going to be tricky, coming back, and especially where the Lions are, being absolutely terrible, and seeing the success the Rams are having, knowing that was your team just a year ago, and now this other guy's playing quarterback for him, and they're doing so much better. And there's got to be that pressure. There's got to be that, maybe I'm just not that good. When you see the differences of the teams, so it's going to be a struggle. I think he's going to try to give his best effort, but I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, I think he's going to try to press a lot, probably make some throws that he probably shouldn't make, to try to come out and prove that he was worthy or shouldn't have been traded or should have been in LA. So, I think it's going to be a tough one for Goff. And I know he's getting some pressure in Detroit right now. His coach is calling him out. People in the media are calling him out. So this is a big week for him. If he comes out and shines and somehow, some way they beat the Rams, it'll be really good for him in his career.
All right, let's do our fantastic finish. And Dan Campbell, you just continue to entertain us over there in Detroit. I'm loving it. This guy's the best. Huge games this week. You got the Chiefs and the Titans, Bengals and the Ravens, little Thursday night action. Interesting with your Browns. Last week in our picks, Orlando was 1-2. So Mr. Pace is 7-9 on the year. We have to give the records out here. Nick, as we mentioned at the top, rolling 3-0, 11-5 overall. So you could consider that if you are going to follow our big man bets here. But who knows? Maybe this is the week that Orlando gets hot. All right, let's do our pick of the week. Last week for Nick, you had Baltimore and they smoked the Chargers 34-6. Orlando, you took Dallas, and that worked out as well as they knocked off the Patriots. So Nick, you're up first. Your pick of the week for Week 7.
So we talked about it, we touched on it, and I'm not happy about it. I told you I don't like the board this week, and so I'm playing fast and loose with my record right now. But I'm going to do it. I think Tyrod Taylor is going to be healthy, and I think the Texans will cover plus 18 versus the Cardinals. I think this is a letdown game for the Cardinals. Even though it's at home, they just blew out the Browns. They're feeling great. I think this is a letdown game. They have the lowly Texans coming to them. So I think the Texans will cover. Everyone will be shocked they won't win, but the Texans plus 18.
That's when you know you're on a roll, when you're willing to say Texans. I appreciate it.
Yeah. That's exactly what that was. He's just rolling like, dude, I'll bet on the Texans, man. The Texans are, nobody takes that bet, but he'll take it because he's been rolling so much. So for me, it's, I'm going Tampa Bay, 13.5 over Chicago Bears. Chicago's in a tailspin right now, rookie quarterback. Obviously you mentioned Chicago's missing Robert Quinn for this week. So I think Tom Brady have a big day, and they'll beat them, well over 13.5. So
let's go right into the upset. And Orlando, you took Detroit last week. That did not work out particularly well for you as they got smoked by the Bengals. But good for you for picking the Lions. I give you credit. Who are you going with this week?
I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals getting 6 points over the Ravens. The Ravens been in some tough games the past 3 or 4 weeks. Cincinnati and what they're doing up there, they're playing some really good football. I think it'll be a lot closer than the 6 points that the spread has. So I'm riding with Joe Burrows and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Ooh, interesting. For me, upset of the week, I'm looking at this one. The Panthers are in a tailspin. Sam Darnold has not been looking good for the last 3 games. The Giants just got blown out. I think they need to have a win. They have to have a win. So I'm going Giants are plus 2.5 over the Patriots, or over the Panthers. Sorry. I think there's something about it. It's another home game. They had struggled with the fans, booing them and everything. They want to make it right. I think the Giants come out on top.
Breaking news, by the way, on the show right now, the Browns announcing that Case Keenum is going to start on Thursday night, which I think is a good decision. Baker's dealing with some major shoulder issues. that's your franchise guy, or at least one of them. So getting him healthy probably makes sense. But Case Keenum for the Browns this week on with their Thursday night contest with Denver. All right, let's go over unders here. Let's take a peek at your who we think is going either big or small this weekend. Oh, by the way, go to WynnBET for all your gambling needs. WINNBET.com, and of course BetSided for all your gambling needs. Let's go over under with Orlando. Go ahead.
For me, I'm going with the Kansas City Tennessee Titans game. I'm going under the 57 points. Obviously, with Derrick Henry running the ball controlled offense, KC having some issues offensively with turnovers and things like that, I think they'll go under the 57-point spread.
Yeah, that is. I didn't notice that one. That is a high number. I like that pick. All right, so for me, I'm done with unders. I'm only sticking to overs. I'm looking at the Colts 49ers sitting at 44. I think there's potential there for a bunch of points to be scored. I don't like the board. I don't like this week, but that's what I'm taking. Over 44, Colts versus 49ers.
Orlando, as we finish up here, are you noticing how much Nick is just like building in excuses to how this week comes out?
I know he's throwing the disclaimers out there. I'm telling you guys, I do not like this board, but all he's doing is making people money, man. So I don't know if he's just throwing that out there because he's been rolling so good lately.
I am putting up the excuses. It's like my golf game. I did not sleep that well last night. I had to get a new glove. My car didn't start. I have every excuse imaginable ready to go, and I'm doing the same thing for my bets this week.
Gentlemen, good to be with you. Week 7 is upon us. Go make some money, everybody, and thank you for watching Big Man Bets. WynnBET.com, BetSided. We'll see you next week.